Nerdy Unreal Dev, finally back with some videos. This one is just going over some of the differences between older versions of Unreal and Unreal 4.26, which may or may not be the final version of Unreal before we get to Unreal Engine 5. The beta for that is supposed, or I forget the term that Epic uses, but the beta for that should be coming out this year, sometime in the next few months. So that'll be fun and interesting. I can finally use the mega scans. I could have used them earlier, but my computer doesn't seem to like them. But for now, we've got Unreal 4.26, which is kind of building up to what's going to be in Unreal Engine 5, which means there are several differences. So just going to run over some of these differences that I've noticed while working on scenes and whatnot. One of these differences involves Niagara, which I'll end up making a more in-depth video on that, just because Niagara is so complex, and I admit I still need to dig into chaos. For those who aren't aware, chaos is basically Unreal's VFX system for destroying models, basically. It's very Houdini-esque, I guess you could say, in that, well, you can easily bring down buildings, make your own cheesy disaster flick. But let's get started. So one minor little detail is they changed the cinematics. So instead of 3 options, it's just add level sequence and add master sequence. And though, same as before, level sequence can pretty much do anything master sequence can do. Alright, another thing. We no longer have the tabs for landscape. Instead, that is a little more complicated. We have modes. So also, if you're using the geometry volumes, you're gonna need to do that in the brush editing mode. This was a change in 4.25. So we're gonna do a new level. Just like from starting in 4.23, we have time of day there. I started Unreal as games just because it requires less plugins. And so there's also VR Basic as a level option. But let's just go to default. And so I'll grab a box. And for those who don't know, these geometry nodes can be really useful for gray boxing. But because you can grab various parts of it and move it around. So we want to edit this. Well, you go into modes, click brush editing, and now you can start selecting faces, vertices. Now you have more faces. Can create, oh shoot, what was that architect with the crazy buildings? Okay, that's every other well-known architect. You can also extrude. This warning generally pops up. So, yeah, we can... And I have actually used this for some levels. You can also... Yeah, extrude. Yeah, extrude. They now have a few more options here. But generally, what you're gonna need is just extrude and move. It automatically changes to the local coordinate system if it's not already there. And you could create some funky geometry. One thing you can do when it actually works, I've had moments of it not working. Let's go into starter content, not textures, materials, and we can plop a material on one specific face, and technically you should be able to pan. Sometimes Unreal gets a little cranky, which I'm sure, yeah, there we go. So you have to be out of brush editing to edit the textures, but you can pan it, you can scale it. So again, this is really good for quick gray boxing. Or if you really quickly need to make a level to show off. There's a few things you can do with this sort of thing. So, that's that. Let's just go to a new level. Other things that are there, your foliage. I don't think this has any... Well, technically don't need... You can drop anything there. Doesn't necessarily have to be plants. But you do this. All your tools for doing things are here. Adjusting density. Mesh paint. This is useful, I know, for certain certain tools of Unreal that I'm not exactly familiar with, but I will learn them for this channel and also for my own use. But mesh paint mode's here, as is landscape. You can still import your height map file. So all of this is here. You can either close out, just exit and bring it back. Other things to note, volumes, they put all their volumes here. They do have the sky atmosphere. They still have the atmospheric fog, though I'm not expecting that to be in Unreal Engine 5. They're trying to get rid of that. But the most important thing, Niagara. What's going on here? Well, you still got the emitters and emitter system. One thing to note is in 4.26, it's no longer a plugin that you put in. In fact, I have not added any plugins to my version of 4.26. It just, Niagara is fully integrated. You can still use Cascade. And that's what particle system is. If you want to use chaos, though, that's where you would use a plugin. They also have a plugin for converting your cascade effects into Niagara, though it's to be noted, this is still a beta version. Also, if Niagara Extras contains extra things of Niagara. If you want to start playing with Chaos, just type in Chaos and you can start playing with their cloth editors, their solver, caching, all sorts of things. So, if we actually go into Niagara, so we'll make an emitter. We'll just go with fountain. Call this testing. And you can see over here we've got particle counts showing, Scratchpad, so if you want to make your own scripts, right here. And then graphically this looks a little bit different. They changed some of the UI elements here, just tweaking them. Should be noted that I've noticed in comments that there's been a lot of, hey, this thing got moved around, hey, that thing got moved around. So certainly things I'll be covering in the future. They also changed up the initial particle, random uniform, non-uniform, random non-uniform for sprite size. Though you can always set to default. Another interesting thing I noticed, apply chaos data. So they're setting up Niagara for the chaos, which will be really interesting, and I look forward to showing you guys some chaos because let me tell you, destroying things in engine is really fun. We also have more locations. There's a jitter position now. There's also, this could have been here before and I just didn't notice, but system location. Some of these things definitely seem more like we're setting up for chaos. Find kinetic and potential energy. So, got a few more options. It's still very similar. Might notice there's audio here. One of the things they showed in the Unreal Engine 5 demo is the ability to use sound with Niagara. Sound and light. Actually, I could be misremembering and it could have just been light, but yeah. So, can play with this, and I'm sure this will be fun for anyone who does both sound effects and VFX. So, yeah, that's a quick rundown of just a few of the changes that might confuse some people. And also definitely noting various ways that 4.26 is setting up for Unreal Engine 5, which I am very much looking forward to. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and consider donating to my coffee. Also consider checking out my ArtStation store or even my Redbubble where I've got a few designs up. Have a good one.